It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Forum program on Eagle Television. It's great having you watch the program. It's brought to you by Hayes Med. Matt Fries is our guest here on the Forum program today. Matt is an instructor. Not only that, you're an award-winning instructor at NCK Tech. You were just awarded an instructor under 5 years, a special award. Tell me about your award.
So it was an Outstanding New Teacher Award, and it was for instructors or educators that are new to the trade, under 5 years, and have done some outstanding things in the classroom.
How do you get that? I mean, is there a process? Because this is a statewide organization that takes a look at teachers really around the state. So
right. Mostly, I was nominated by individuals in at my own school, and I had revamped my teaching style. When I first started teaching, I was doing a lot of lecture-based stuff, like what we were brought up on, teacher-centered, and it was brutal. Students weren't digging it. I wasn't digging it, so I had to do something fast. After my first evaluation, my boss was like, you don't have to teach the way you're taught, and why don't you use some technology? And that's all I needed to hear. So I revamped everything, and now it's more of a student-centered classroom. A lot of technology is being used, kind of like what we're doing here. YouTubes are up, or my tutorials and lectures are up online now. Students can get to them through a laptop or smartphone, and it's just a lot more engaging now. So
let's talk about what you teach, because you teach electrical
technology.
What else? Now, you went through NCK Tech as a student as well, and you went through several curriculums.
Yes. You want me to say?
Yeah. What all did you do?
In 2001, I took PHAC, and then 2002 I came back and did carpentry, because the school, they build a house. The carpenters build the house, the plumbers plumb it, and the electricians wire it. And then we had bricklaying back then too, and they laid the foundation for the house. And so you're a part of all of that as you're going through the school. And I came back and did carpentry in 2002, then I came back and did bricklaying in 2003. And that summer I got shocked. I got shocked as, you know, doing some work bricklaying, and I didn't understand electricity, so I came back and did 2 more years of electrical. And
Matt, I've gotten shocked doing some of that stuff too, and I just keep getting shocked. So yeah, it is. Yeah, stuff. Not so much, but so you went through the program and then went on your own for a while. What did you do after school?
I just went down the street from NCK Tech to Sunflower Manufacturing, AGCO, and did electrical maintenance there for 10 years, and then did 1 year as a maintenance supervisor. And it was during that time an instructor told me about the opening in electrical. Applied for it, interviewed for it, and I'm 3 years in now, so it's all
you're
good.
A Ransom, Kansas boy.
Yep.
That ended up in Beloit at NCK. That ended up at NCK Tech.
Yep.
Doing that as a student, and then out in the field, and then back again. When you mentioned you first started teaching, you're younger than I am, but the teachers would get up front. Did they use a blackboard when you were there? Because they used a blackboard when I was growing up, and erasers and all that stuff, and they stood at the front of the class, told you what was going on. Is that how you started and then made a transition?
When I started teaching, yes, that's exactly the way. Because I kind of freaked out a little bit. I didn't know how I was going to teach electrical technology, so I kind of freaked out a little bit, and I started teaching the way I was taught, where I stood up in front of the students and I got them all bored. Right, draw pictures. Nowadays we do it with PowerPoint. Death by PowerPoint. That's the saying now, but. That's what I first started out doing. So a typical day, you'd come in, you'd see everybody in a traditional classroom, me up at the front, talking, and it's 2016, and these students are just not engaged. They're just not into it. And
so if you take one of your classes today, do you have an iPad that you learn off of? Do you have a computer? You work at home? Do you just do your class? If people want to come, you record it. If you send it off to them, they can watch it on YouTube. How does that work?
Yes, sir. We can do. I do every bit of that. A typical week now, they come in and I give them a lesson plan, And on this lesson plan, they have weekly objectives, and these objectives need to be met every Friday. And I have YouTube tutorials, I've got quizzes, I've got, they have to do some bookwork, things of that nature. And they have to, you know, they can use an iPad, they can use computers, laptops, whatever they need to get this stuff done. It teaches them a lot about time management. So
yeah. So what do they learn in your classes? Well, about electrical, what do they learn?
Right out of the gate, we got to teach them that what they're working with is pretty much organized lightning. So, and that it'll hit you, it'll hurt people, it'll kill people, and they got to know that. So we teach them the theory, like why the lights work, why receptacles work, things of that. And that's not only for safety, but for a foundation as they progress through. They also will learn how to wire a house, how to wire commercial buildings, how to wire industrial buildings, and we're going to teach them a little bit about solar technology this year too. So if they want to learn how to wire a house, if they want to learn how to bend conduit, if they want to learn AutoCAD, we hit every facet of all.
So is this a year curriculum, 2-year curriculum overall?
Yes, sir. 2 years.
2 years. So once you're done, once you graduate, you really are an apprentice electrician?
Well,
what do you get?
They're gonna have the ability to take the journeyman's exam. Yeah. So that gives them one step forward than just an apprentice, because now they've got the license. They just have to work hours under another electrician to get their license.
Well, one of the things that's cool is that, you know, not only are there great teachers at NCK Tech and award-winning teachers, no less, but students that leave the school. I was just cruising around your website the other night, and the number of kids, NCK Tech is one of the top schools, not only in the state, but in the country, of kids that graduate that go on to get jobs.
Right, we're #1 in the country for job placement. So, and that is a fact. So, it's good stuff.
Now, when you talk about kids coming to school, what are the kids like today? I know some of us that you kind of like, okay, what are those young kids? You know, the word term millennials comes out there, and it's like, boy, those millennials, they don't really know what's going on. I don't see that as the case. Do you see that in the school system, or what do you see?
I don't. As long as I think millennials, you know, they are, as we talk, you know, they're cable ready as soon as they're 5 years old. They know how to take one of those and start scrolling up or scrolling to the side, whatever. They, you know, and they still have good work ethic. There are a lot of those students that come in and have great work ethic. But I think one thing that you need to do is you need to give them goals. You need to give them clear, concise goals to achieve, and then just let them run amok, and they will. They'll take an iPad and they'll turn it upside down. They'll show you everything that this iPad has in 5 minutes, and stuff you didn't even know would work. So I'm always impressed. They perplex me sometimes.
Well, when you see the number of kids that go through, the fact that, that you're working with them, changing the way you do it, and I think that's probably one of the keys too. You got to adapt to who you're teaching to.
Oh yeah.
If they're not paying attention, if they're not listening, you're not going to teach them a whole lot.
Exactly. And the way I have my classes set up is, I don't, you know, it's not the old way where it's just come in, sit down, shut up, don't talk to your neighbor. This is team oriented. This is student centered, and if they want to do their bookwork right out of the gate on first of the week, they can do that. If they want to go do their labs, they can go do that. I'm just kind of a manager, a baseball manager that just sits back in the dugout and watches and guides them if they need any help. So far, you know, my first semester, like I said, it was brutal. Not much engagement. They couldn't wait to go to break, and they hated coming back. And now, I mean, after I've revamped everything, it's just, they are just engaged like no other. So
great. Well, you mentioned a couple things. We're going to take a quick break, Max, and come back. And you mentioned solar. I want to talk about wind, electricity, some other things that are kind of in the future. Matt Freese is our guest here. He's an Outstanding Teacher Award winner from NCK Tech out of Beloit. Back with more after this.
Hayes Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, HaysMed is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. HaysMed, helping people be healthy.
Eagle Communications is your ultimate business partner. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. The only piece missing is your business. Call Eagle Communications today at 877-61-EAGLE.
Hi everyone, this is Gerard Welbrock inviting you to join us for Tiger Talk. We record it over the noon hours, Mondays at Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hays, and play back at 6 o'clock Monday nights on Tiger Radio Mix 103. You can also catch it on Eagle TV's channel 14 and 614, Tuesday and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., and always on HaysPost.com. So join us for Tiger Talk over the noon hour, Mondays at Old Chicago.
Welcome back to the second half of the forum. Again, our program is brought to you by HaysMed, and I also like to remind you to send me a note. Gary.Shorman@eaglecom.net. Let me know if you have some great ideas, some program ideas that you'd like us to focus on and be a part of here on the forum program. Our guest is Matt Freese. Matt is an award-winning teacher from NCK Tech out of Beloit. Matt's our guest. He actually grew up in Ransom, but we were talking about the technology and where it's going with electricity. Electricity will not change. It's always going to shock you if you hit the two wires together.
Yep.
What are you going to be working on teaching? You mentioned solar. Is that something that's becoming a bigger item for, I say, what you would typically install in your home and be a part of?
It is. It's not really revolutionary. They've had solar back. They started that back in the 70s, but they've gotten it to a point where they've just got it so dialed down now that it's way more efficient. So that is one thing we're gonna start doing at NCK Tech. They started it a little bit in 2014, but then unfortunately the instructor that got the ball rolling, or tried to do, he retired, and then so that kind of just went by the wayside a little bit. But now we're gonna bring it up and running here soon, because the way we see it, solar is it is a good future. There's a good future in it, so we're gonna bring it to the forefront here a little bit.
Now you mentioned the solar part. Is wind in that, or is wind just is that the big commercial stuff that not necessarily you'd use in your home?
The residential wind is kind of dwindled a little bit. Now it's your big wind farms that you see peppered throughout Kansas. And that's, those are megawatt, and that's powering cities and power plants that power, like is it KP&L, KCP&L, whatever. They buy the wind energy and then actually use it. So you're
not training so much on that, but the same sort of technology, the same
information
information would work in your home with electricity.
In second year, they will learn about generators, which is what these wind generators are. So they'll understand the basic principles of generating electricity. So
well, that's, you mentioned generators. I was talking about backup power, UPSs, things like that. Obviously, we had, every once in a while we have electrical outages, and being able to work that. Are more homes coming in with that UPS or some sort of backup generator built in?
We don't really see it at school, but the house that we build, we try to put in those emergency backup systems like solar, or we have a transfer switch ready to go for generators, things of that nature, and that's something else they learn in second year. So it's going to be exciting.
How creative do you have to be an electrician? Because you watch all those network shows on Home and Garden, the tiny home thing, to rebuilding old homes that need it. I mean, to some extent, you have to be somewhat creative as an electrician, as well as you have to do just to be able to do the building right.
You do. There is a lot of creativity in it, but also I think probably the main thing is, like we've talked, that you got to be safe. So you got to know the theory, but You know, and the tiny home thing, that's something else that's coming up. There's been a lot of people that have been knocking at our doors wanting tiny homes wired and things like that. So, but you know, you learn once you learn electricity, I think then it's up to the person to be creative. So,
well, congratulations on the award.
Well, thank you.
If somebody wants to know more about NCK Tech, then go online. You guys have a great website that really gives the details on that.
Yep.
So find out, sign up. You're teaching in Beloit, so if you're watching here and you want to actually have one of Matt's classes, you're going to have to go to Beloit, right?
Yes. So
How does that work?
What I would
between Hayes and Beloit?
Well, we offer the same classes, pretty much for the most part. And you know, if you want to go to Hayes to do electrical, then you go sign up and you'll tour Hayes. If you want to come to Beloit, you know, where you may not get in as much trouble.
But you have your class, yeah.
And have my class, yeah. Then you would sign up. But what I would tell students, you know, coming out, or even students, you know, people coming out of the military that want to try it, just call our admissions and schedule some time to come and just shadow a class. You can just sit through one of our classes. We don't, you know, we're cool with that. You don't just have to do a 15-minute tour and be done. Come in for 3 hours, just sit in the corner. We'll shadow you with a student, and you know, lunch is on us. You just need to get to the campus. So,
great idea.
That's what I would do.
Great idea. Matt Freese has been our guest here. I hear they call you Mr. Freese in class.
They do.
Just because you're pretty serious with this stuff.
They're intimidated.
Matt Freese has been our guest. He was an award-winning instructor for electrical at NCK Tech, based out of Beloit. Our guest again, Matt Freese. Thank you for watching the program. It's brought to you by Hayes Med and by Eagle Communications. Our community connected.